Hey there, YouTube. Just want to do a quick review slash initial thoughts on this Boonie Packer Better Mag attachment that allows the use for Smith-wesson magazines in your AR-15 with any CMMG bolt carrier kit or conversion kit. So when I saw this initially, there's a couple other videos on YouTube. I was actually really impressed. I was like, oh man, that's great. My magazines suck. I hate the CNMG mags and their bolt hold open device. I've been having a lot of issues with it. So thought I'd give this a shot. Just a precursor, I have not actually gone out and shot with this yet. But when I got it, when I first got it, unpackaged it, I was pretty impressed with it. Everything seemed to work pretty good. So I put the pieces together, put them in the gun, threw a magazine in, and sure enough, it worked great. Did it a couple more times, and then all of a sudden it hung up. I don't know if anybody else has had this problem, but it just got stuck, and I could not get the thing to go down. I had to go in there with a screwdriver and push this piece down here so that everything would go back to where it should be. So anyway, eventually, I put it back in, reassembled it, did the same thing, hung up a couple times. So anyway, what I wanted to show you guys is how I remedied that situation. If you can see here, this original part had kind of a, I don't know what you call that, nitride finish or something, blued finish, parkerized finish, whatever it might have been. What I did was I had some, 1500 grit sandpaper here that I kind of keep in my gun bag just for polish and stuff, for something gets nicked up, whatever, you never know what you're going to need. So anyway, I ended up polishing a lot of these surfaces so that they were nice and smooth. In particular, this surface here on the back and on the front here, and especially right here, which is actually where the bolt is going to interface with the catch. Let me do this so you guys can see it here. So this actually sits on the bolt. So I polished those all up, polished all of the other flat edges that ride against any other surface on the device. And that seemed to do it, actually. I threw it back in, and everything seemed to do pretty well. Sorry, guys, I'm working with two views here. I'm trying to look at the camera and do this. Got monkey hands today. So anyway, I polished that all up. This thing seems to work great. Noticed too, the first time I put this in, I cut my fingers up trying to get this in the gun. It looks like they didn't really deburr this at all when they left the factory. So this thing was real sharp. So I went ahead and, I took some files. I got some 220 grit sandpaper here as well as this, and smoothed out all these edges because I was getting cut every time I was sticking the thing in there. So another thing I had to do too is that my magazine, when it went in, this part actually goes and it kind of clips in above the magazine release. So your magazine release kind of sits right here, which holds this thing in position. But this tab, and I don't know if you can see it well in this picture, the magazine release was sticking pretty far out. So when I put the mags in, they didn't really engage that well. So I marked it with a Sharpie. I put this in, closed the receiver, which pushes this down just a little bit to where it needs to go. So I put it down, closed the receiver, took a Sharpie, and marked exactly where I needed to file. And then I just kind of started taking little by little bit off there until it went in there just perfect. Now it sits on top of that magazine release bar, and everything's locked in pretty good. So overall, I think it's going to work pretty well. Just, cycling live rounds and everything like that, everything seems to work out pretty dandy. So other than the sharp edges and, the lack of deburring, I think it's going to be pretty good. The only other thing I did was I have the CMMG conversion here. The only other thing I did was I took that 1500 grit sandpaper and I polished this up real well so that when those surfaces slide against each other, there's not much friction there. And everything I've done seems to have solved the issue. So hopefully when we go out to the range for the first time, we shouldn't have any issues. So I've cycled it probably 200 times, pushing the bolt release, and everything seems to work fine after that, both with, just the empty mag in, which is sometimes can be a little bit harder, but everything seems to work swimmingly now. So should be all set. So if you guys have any questions, or you need a better view of something or something explained, just let me know in the comments below. Thanks. Appreciate it.